the side effect of looking at information and user patterns or data access or data patterns is it also helps to identify broken processes. Another true example is they were looking at, they were putting this tool in, they were looking at weird behavior, and they noticed that the regional managers at the end of every quarter were all of a sudden accessing and downloading. Their activity just spiked. So all of a sudden you're at the end of the quarter and you have a regional manager that downloads and accesses all of their region's information and data. Sorry. That's an alarming stat, right? What is he going to do with it? The threat, flight risk. Are they trying to take the information, or are they going to lead to a competitor? So the regional manager was brought in and said, so is everything okay? He goes, yeah. We noticed that you downloaded all your regional data. Just wondering why. And he said, well, every quarter you move us to a new territory. Yeah, that's standard procedure. When I move to the new to the new territory, I don't have access to any of the information that I had for the last quarter. And if I don't download it and bring it with me, then from a communication standpoint, I'm not equipped to do my job. And it never really occurred to management. And they said, wow, I never even knew that was an issue. Well, that can be fixed. So here, anomalous behavior got flagged, but not because they were doing anything malicious, but because the processes were broken. So when you look at anomalies, you're going to find a lot of reasons or explanations behind it. And I left. So now the how. How do you protect data? And arguably, it probably should have been one or at least two behind two-factor authentication, but encryption. And really, the first time that you use encryption in your environment shouldn't be as a result of a ransomware attack. No IT guys, no, that's okay. So encryption is important because if information is stolen, if people can't read it, you're still safe, right? And it's not just encryption at rest. It's also, is it encrypted in motion? Is it encrypted in memory buffers? Are you doing the right steps? Do you know where that data and that information is living, and do you know what form it's in as it progresses through the entire life cycle? And because really at the end of the day, if information does leave your organization, if it can't be read, then you're still protected. And a lot of the legislation that's out now, it's not, in my mind, it's not really designed to penalize organizations if they're breached. It's really, I believe that organizations are going to be measured on how they respond and were they doing the right due diligence ahead of time, right? Because I think it's gotten to the point where everybody realizes it's not if, it's when something will happen. And so it's more important to make sure that you've got, you were taking the prudent steps ahead of time. You've got your action plans in place, so if something does happen, you're going to be able to react quickly. It's like if you're being attacked, that's not the time to pull a brainstorming whiteboard session together to try to figure out what you need to do next. You need to have those incident response and those emergency management plans done ahead of time. They need to be practiced, because having them and putting them on a drawer and nobody knows where they are or how to execute them, that doesn't help either. I'll give you one small example, Canadian, and it's outside of the IT field, but I think it brings, it's a great analogy. So Maple Leaf Foods is a large food processor, meat, so bacon, sausage, and well, when you say bacon, you can, full stop, I mean, they're awesome. So there was a tainted meat. E. coli got into the processing into the plants, and so there were a couple of cases in the public. And you think that something like that, like an acute coli outbreak that's impacting the health of the public at large, would kill a company or an organization. But it didn't. The way that they responded was awesome. They immediately recalled everything. They were above board. They communicated with the public on a regular basis. They went through the steps. When they identified the root cause, the entire plant was sanitized from top to bottom. Equipment that needed to be replaced was replaced. So their response was exactly what the public needed to hear. And as a result, their brand actually improved at the because after the incident, as opposed to being trashed. On the IT side, I mean, I've done another talk. I think that everyone probably has heard about Equifax and what happened there. And that's a case study in what not to do and what not to respond. Right? I mean, their incident management, their tabletop exercise was done in front of Congress. So Congress is talking to the CEO, what happened? Well, the first answer was, well, that guy on IT who was supposed to patch the server, he didn't do his job. Really? That's the CEO's answer? And then he changed his tune the next time he was asked, right? And he says, oh, well, the vulnerability tool that we had didn't pick up the alert. Really? So now you're blaming the tools? So every time he was asked, it was a different story. I mean, that's just one small piece. But when you look at those two things, having the plans in place, knowing what you want to do, taking steps to make sure that information is protected, even if it does leave the organization. I think organizations are going to be measured more on how they respond as opposed to if they were attacked. And the final thought here, and I mentioned it once before, people, process, and technology in that order. And if 91 to 97% of the attacks are aimed at the individuals in your organization, then obviously, if the bad guys figured out that people are the first place to go, then maybe you should too. And do they have the tools? Do they have the training? Do they have the awareness to know how to do their daily job? What's important? How are they going to protect it? Another stat that in a different talk is IT only identifies attacks or breaches about 20% of the time. The other 80% of the time, somebody else notices it and reports it to them. And so if everyone in your organization, if they aren't aware, or to turn it around, if they are aware of what to look for and are willing to identify anomalies and speak up, then your overall security posture is improved. Right? Because now everybody it's not, the whole is not my job. I'm not in IT, I don't have to worry about it. That doesn't come into play. So people are first. Processes, do they know what to do, when to do it, and are they written down, is it repeatable? And once you've got those two pieces, technology is able to then automate and improve and make that job easier.